Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Thomas Carter Rochester, aka Thor, son of Dale.
And my name is David Thompson, aka Christopher Nolan gets it, man. He gets it.
And we'd love to welcome you to Lights, Thunder, Action. David, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. School is wrapping up for the spring semester. I'm happy to report, things have gone well with all of that, and I'm excited. I got some summer classes, but all smooth. Today's been good. Doing some homework. Excited to talk about movies with you, and we're Team Red today. We're all redded out.
Yep, Santa Claus.
How you doing, Thomas? How you been?
I'm doing good. It's been a long week. I got exactly one thing accomplished from Monday to Friday outside of my day job because, boy, was it all encompassing. It was a week, to say the least, and I'm happy that we've made it to whatever today is. The Rock's birthday. Shout out The Rock. You're not going to be watching this, but, happy birthday from your favorite Thor.
Is it his birthday today? It
is today, May 2nd,
Sweet.
1972. I have that date memorized from reading his autobiography when I was 8 years old.
Dang. Dedication.
Not a book for children. Thanks, parents, for buying me that book. I'm good, man. I'm excited. I've done a lot of research today to get ready for part 2 of our MCU Rumors chat. And I have some fan theories today.
Oh, I'm excited. Me too. Not theories, but theories, maybe a few spicy webs in there too.
Hey Terry, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you. I see you're probably bouncing between 3 different live streams right now, like you always do. He's a man that is everywhere. All right, man. We're gonna move quickly today. We're just gonna hop right on in to what the news. You love that, dude. I love your reaction every time.
It's great. What the news? We got a few things. We're gonna kind of save the really spicy one for the end. But firstly, the Tenet date, Christopher Nolan's new movie that was set to come out July 17th of this year. Amongst the COVID-19 pandemic, they have not moved the date. Warner Brothers has not moved the Tenet date. It is still July 17th. And there's some other Warner Brothers dates that have moved, that have been rearranged. Obviously, Tenet is, fully in post, so they don't have to worry about production. They just kind of have it sitting in their back pocket, ready for it to come out. And it's interesting. I mean, July 17th for an actual big release movie, that is the earliest right now for any large blockbuster type movie to come out. And Christopher Nolan does not want to move it. So it's fairly interesting. I like my little AKA at the beginning of my intro. For me, it's like I'm like selfishly, personally, like I would love to see it come out July 17th. Because I figure possibly by then there will at least be partial openings for theaters. But that's I don't understand it from a business side, because there's only by July 17th, it's every indication is pointing to it not being fully open yet, like movie theaters in general. So it's surprising to me to see that they're actually trying to move forward with a July 17th date when theaters will probably only either be partially open with 25 to 50% capacity or not be open at all. It's pretty interesting. No other studio has, August release for Black Widow, or not Black Widow, Wonder Woman. A Wonder Woman or a Warner Brothers picture. A pretty aggressive date, a pretty early on date, especially for a big blockbuster movie like that, when it's right now, it's very up in the air whether these theaters will even be able to take in all, they can't even fill out a theater right now. They'll probably only have partial seating. So but personally, if there is a 25% occupancy or 50%, I'm probably gonna go, because
same.
It'll be the first new movie out. If theaters are open before then, they'll probably just rerun stuff, or I don't know what they'll do exactly, but I'm super excited for this film. It looks amazing. Denzel Washington's son is the main lead actor. I forget his first name. But I know it's Denzel Washington's son.
It's John David Washington.
Yes.
I'm ashamed of you, David.
Sorry. He looks great in it though. Yeah. And the movie looks awesome, but it's very curious to me their business decision on this, because they will clearly be missing out on, like, you've seen a lot of other studios, Universal, for instance, we're gonna get to them in a little bit, but initially, like at the beginning of this whole Corona thing, like when things started shutting down, they immediately moved Fast 9 to next year. I mean, they were swift to put it as far as they could into the future. So anyway, what are your thoughts, Thomas?
Well, it's a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see if it works out for him. I happen to think that it's Christopher Nolan. He's gonna do what he wants. A, B, most of America is trying to open up anyway, and by most I mean 50%. That's pretty much, that's close enough to most. I mean, that's just what shut down, if I'm not mistaken, 50% of what's been shut down, and there was like 11 states that hadn't been into any kind of quarantine orders. So really, it is most of America is kind of working towards opening. I think it is risky, but I love Christopher Nolan, so I'm happy that I can go see it still in July. I was very, very excited for this movie because it looks like it dealt with some time inconsistencies, and I'm all about time variance authorities. Wink, wink. We'll get to that later. Shout out to Adamir Azeri for hopping in. How's the baby? Is he napping? If so, I'll be quiet so I don't wake him. So we'll move right on. Do you have any final thoughts on Tenet?
I'm excited for the film. Selfishly, I'm excited for the July 17th, stronghold. It seems like it could be smart, because if theaters say there's like 50% open, they'll be filling out for Tenet. So it could be smart for them to actually do that,
I agree. Moving on in what the news, Sputnik. You go.
Sputnik. So Sony, they have, as you probably that are watching, they own the rights to Spider-Man and his fellow Spider-Verse characters. And they just now recently came out with a new name, like a acronym, a name for their Spider-Verse, which is Sony's universe of Marvel characters.
LOL.
Rolls right off the tongue.
It does. So easy to say.
Yes, especially SPUMC, as they're putting it in the acronym. I will say I love Spider-Man. He's my favorite. I wish he was owned by Disney, to be completely honest. So this is always like, all this Sony news is, to me, it's always kind of it's like, sure, whatever. I just wish he was actually in the MCU fully, and all these characters were as well. But I commend them kind of leaning into it. They came out, like, what kind of started this whole thing was that they came out with there was like some digital deal, I think, on Amazon Prime for getting all the Spider-Man films, Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, Amazing Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Homecoming, Far From Home. So there was a little bundle deal, and I appreciated them kind of saying this is like the Spider-Man kind of like universe. Oh, like get in on this action. So like come check, like get all the movies. Will we see a team up sometime soon? Will we ever get that? So I mean, if Sony really wants to build a universe, like the pinnacle of what it could be is getting those three, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland, in one movie.
Yes.
It's like, if they really want to be like their own kind of parallel universe that really like takes a stake in our lives and like in the box office, that's what they should do, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think of the name?
I have better names for this acronym. Spiders pee under mail cars. It's not as good. It's not that great. Senators play under massive calamity. Supreme Pizza Ultimate Mozzarella Combo.
And this is fantastic,
right? Doesn't it? That was actually the first one I thought of, but this is my favorite. Spider powered Ultimate Marvel Scene. The S is silent. All of them are better than whatever
the S is silent.
The S is silent.
Yeah, I think the name itself is better than the acronym. Like the fact that they tried to put in an acronym is pitiful. Like it's just that's the SPUMC. Like that's never gonna catch.
Seriously,
let's call it the Spider-Verse. You know, let's call it
they
the
missed
Sonyverse
on the perfect opportunity for great marketing. Well, would it have confused everything? No, because you have a movie called Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
and when you call it the Spider-Verse or the Sony Spider-Verse, literally both of those are great. You call it the
cinematic Spider-Verse, like something like that.
The cinematic Spider-Verse. Goodness gracious. Come on, Sony. Do you need to hire us? Yes, you do. Please do. We need jobs. He's good at stuff. He's a journalist. He's good at marketing. I can do other stuff.
You can do plenty, man.
I can do plenty, but I don't feel like listing out things.
All right, let's get to the spiciest web of the news today.
I forgot to make the graphic. I'm so sorry. I'll get it done this week.
Oh, that's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. Here we go. My favorite news from the whole week, because I've just made fun of everyone about it the whole time. The universal reckoning is afoot.
It is afoot, and this is crazy, and I love it. It's like so funny. It's literally like high school kids arguing. But they're multi-million-dollar studios and companies.
Yep. That's so it feels like.
What the news is that Universal Pictures, they came out with Trolls World Tour, and it did well. You know, they were like happy with the results, and because it went straight to VOD, they bypassed the theater thing. They didn't push it back. They went straight to rent, straight to buy on digital. They liked the performance of it. They had an announcement saying, hey, this did well. We may look to do this more in the future. AMC, as we've talked before on the show, is not doing well financially. Regal theaters also, I mean, they're not doing as bad as AMC, but they're not open for the foreseeable future. They are losing money. And now you have one of their biggest studios, Universal, going, hey, we may look to go straight to VOD, which is completely cutting out that middleman of the theaters. So AMC threatens Universal now, saying, hey, if you're going to put your movies on VOD, we're just not going to show your movies at all in AMC theaters. Which, and Regal kind of hopped on later, kind of threatening. It wasn't as bold as AMC, but I think AMC is a little more, I guess, sensitive at this time because of their financial predicament. But it is, I mean, they're literally trying to bully Universal into being like, stay where, like, you know, keep doing what you do, because AMC cannot lose Universal's numbers. And Universal, let's be realistic here. The format, the way of making money of going through theater, especially for a big blockbuster like a Fast and Furious or a Spectre, you know, like one of the big Universal company like projects that are blockbusters. Going straight to VOD, like Trolls World Tour did, and they did well. But that's Trolls, you know, like that's a smaller animated for kids, and they cannot lose. Universal cannot afford to lose AMC and Regal theaters because they're the two biggest in the United States. So it's kind of it's hilarious. And what's I think most embarrassing, this should not be in the headlines. This should be something under, like, they should be discussing amongst themselves. Like, why is this public news? I feel like stuff like this has happened before. It just has never been out in the public like this.
This is literally the perfect story for what the news?
Literally. Like, because why? What is this why is this news? See, I mean, it's AMC. They wanted to make it public.
They needed to make it public so that they could. And see, this is where I feel, you know, tying back to Spider-Man. When it first came out, I was like, that's a stupid idea from AMC. Because, you know, at the end of the day, AMC will lose all that income that they're going to get from all of Universal's movies, and they're going to lose out on their concessions. They don't make any money off the movies. They make it all off of concessions. That's a lot of concessions for, say, a Fast 1 million or whatever they're on.
Especially Fast and Furious, where it's like, for me, it's like one of those movies that you go there, you want popcorn, you want like a drink or something, because it's like such a dumb movie.
To not think, because otherwise you gotta 35-minute runway scene.
Yeah. I like that scene.
Yeah, it was good.
I love Fast 6. It's my favorite Fast and Furious movie.
Didn't work though. Which is why I'm not a big fan of the Fast series anymore. They just defy actual physics, and I'm like, arg, maybe.
Yeah, my brother's over it too. I was like, you see the Fast 9 trailer? He's like, I don't watch those movies anymore. I'm like, all right, fair enough.
I watched Hobbs and Shaw because The Rock was in it. Idris Elba was in it, and
I liked Hobbs and Shaw, honestly.
Dude, so it was better than all the other Fast movies I've seen, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. I thought it was good. Yeah.
So before we move on, I just wanted to say hello, Jen Hogan, and these other people might have left already. Derek Schaefer, Taylor Sue Atkinson, thank you for joining us. We hope that you will enjoy the remainder of this chat.
Adam's got a good question here.
I know I was gonna get there. I don't know. Because rumors have been a swirl. Rumors have been afoot. Mutiny is ready to roll. That Daredevil will be in there, and he's going to be the lawyer that helps with Spider-Man and Peter Parker in that situation. However, I've always looked at it as it was going to be Jen Walters, aka She-Hulk, was going to be the lawyer. I've been thinking that more than Daredevil for a while, just because I knew they had her rights. Mm-hmm. According to the rules, they're not supposed to develop anything with Daredevil until the rights are back to them, which is November of this year, I believe.
But that would work.
Well, would it work? They've been developing this movie already,
right? I think it's that's
where
date.
That's where, I'm going to just be a scale here because I don't know how that one legally is going to work out. However, they could have had Jen Walters, changed it instantly, and throw in Daredevil. But Charlie Cox has
better
said
if it was Daredevil.
Yeah. What was that?
Keep going. I said it'd be so much better if it was Daredevil.
I'm
excited for She-Hulk, but Daredevil and Spider-Man.
I like both of those ideas personally.
Bring me Kingpin in the MCU.
Okay, that's very true. That is definitely what I want. But do we want Kingpin to be brought in just so we don't get a Spider-Man Kingpin movie? Think about it. It's Sony.
Okay.
Look 5 steps ahead.
Yeah, that's a smart. that's a wise outlook.
Which is why I'm not getting my hopes up for Daredevil.
But Kingpin in a Spider-Man movie,
I need it. I just need it. I need him to kill a Spider-Man.
But okay, so with the question, well, we saw that.
I'll let you answer the question.
Yeah,
my answer is I don't know.
Same here, really. I mean, I don't know either. It's interesting those comments coming from Brandon. What's Daredevil's
Cox.
Charlie Cox. I almost said Brandon Cox. Like a football player. Anyway,
he is. Yeah, I think somewhere.
Charlie Cox. His comments. It was interesting. He was like, "There's no plans for me to be in it," but it was this shady, like, kind of is Daredevil going to be in it though? He has no plans, but what does that mean exactly? And I would love, it kind of stinks that if he were in the movie Daredevil, I'm saying it may not be Charlie Cox because I think he did such a great job in it. In those Netflix shows, and it's really sad to know that those shows kind of came to an abrupt ending. And the Kingpin in that movie or in that show is really good. I'm sure they probably recast, and even if they did, I wouldn't be super upset. I'd rather have the characters in the movie than have the same actors. I think I would take more priority of having having the characters in, especially Kingpin, because I think that Kingpin in Spider-Man comics and even Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is such a cool character. I would love to see him in there. It's hard to say, and it's really hard to say now with Spider-Man 3 where it's gonna be. Kraven the Hunter is the rumored villain for that. And okay, I have a take before we get. I mean, we're gonna get to the rumors for Spider-Man down the road in a further episode, but really quickly,
spicy web tease
a little bit. I mean, it's not even spicy. I don't think. Okay, Homecoming, Far From Home. I love both those movies. You won't find a Spider movie I don't love, to be honest. But I love both those movies.
Right.
But I don't. One thing that kind of annoys me with so far with the MCU Spider-Man in general is that we have not seen him in New York enough. He has not been a New York friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, except for like 20 minutes in Homecoming. He was in Germany. He was on Titan in space. He was, he was in Washington, D.C. during Homecoming. He was in Europe. We haven't seen him like in previous Spider-Man movies. And I get it. It's a new MCU is bigger. Like they like there's more things happening. But in traditional Spider-Man comics, even like the movies we've seen previously, I'm a sucker for him just being in New York. Like even the Spider-Man video game on PS4, like it was awesome just having to. It was all in New York. It was very like kind of Batman Arkham-like, where you just kind of traveled around the same city. I really want to see Spider-Man 3 be a mostly New York-based movie. And the Kraven the Hunter thing, while I want him to be the villain because I think it would be super cool, that scares me that it's going to be not in New York is when we meet him and all of that.
I think it will still be in New York because where's the kid gonna go?
I mean, I hope.
What is Sanctuary when you still have this Sokovia Accords going on?
Yeah,
I'm
just saying they've been throwing him around a lot with different places, and I just hope they keep him in New York, especially like the end of Far From Home when he's swinging around New York City. I'm like, yes.
Mean, that's what Feige's been saying is he wanted to earn that feeling of flying around New York City a little bit more because we've seen it in other movies. So he wanted to do something just different enough to help us earn that and be like, yeah, we got Spider-Man.
Keep going with it. Like
we'll leave this web dangling before our next whenever we talk about Spider-Man, which is probably like the next episode. Actually, I think that's our Sony spider web, the spider powered ultimate Marvel scene. Yes, that'll be our chat there. Before we move away from the news, we know, Adam, we're gonna get there. I promise you, we are. We're probably gonna drop the news that I didn't even know came out this week. It's been a long week for work. David told me earlier that there was a bunch of new dates for the DC movies.
It's actually kind of late news, but we need to discuss it basically. Well, it's like
how late?
2 weeks.
What? What?
Yeah, we didn't put it in.
Where the heck have I been?
We didn't put it in last week, unfortunately.
Whoops. I'm so behind. How did I miss that in the news?
We are shaming Adam right now. We are rubbing dirt in his face.
He hates us. Last comment for Spider-Man. He's a busy Avenger. He's the busiest Avenger. Spider-Man, the Man of Spiders, is the busiest Avenger. Speaking of Avengers, I am excited. We're gonna go with how this is ordered, right? We're gonna just I'm gonna say
send it.
I'm excited for our next intro in our MCU Rumors. It is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Hi, girlie.
Yes, sir.
So sorry. I love you. Puppy dog. Sorry.
Yes, Shang-Chi. So what we've been doing last week, we started this MCU Rumors Part 1. We're going to go through all of the MCU projects upcoming through the next month about. Next week, I think it's going to be our kind of Spider-Man Sony week where we're kind of talk about the Sonyverse and focus more on Venom, Morbius, and then Spider-Man, and discuss some rumors and theories about how the MCU and the Sonyverse, I'm calling it the Sonyverse, I'm not calling it that dumb acronym.
SPUMC.
SPUMC. Are going to intertwine and the potentials for that. But today we've got one movie and 3 Disney Plus shows we're going to discuss.
3 Disney Plus shows, and I have done some research on the shows.
I'm excited to hear it.
I'm so excited.
So Shang-Chi.
I watched some stuff.
Shang-Chi. Now, first things first with this movie, my thought initially was going to be a February release date. Because of all this that's happened with Corona, it is now pushed to a May 2021 release date. A year from now, we should be getting Shang-Chi. Yeah, exciting. I know, right?
Finally.
Seriously. So it'll be next year. The May date, I've said it before, I'll say it again. It is normally the date that is made for the big money winners, the big blockbusters, the ones they know that will be a cash cow for Marvel. And Shang-Chi is not one of those so far, but
yet.
Exactly. Like they don't have the track record, but I think Shang-Chi could be a great movie. I think that he's a more grounded character will be really neat to see. He's not this like super powered being like compared to some other characters, but he is also his fighting style could like if they direct it correctly, I would love to see really cool. I think the action could be really, really cool.
I got some stuff that I found on the internet.
I would say like one of my final thoughts on Shang or like not final, but like for opening the Legend of the Ten Rings. I'm excited to get maybe the real Mandarin. Like this could be fantastic. When that first came out in Comic-Con last year, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're gonna get the real Mandarin. Is that actually gonna happen? And I think it's a really good way to make the Shang-Chi a part of MCU in a really, clever way, bring back some characters that we may know from the Iron Man movies or something like that, where it may be not in the United States, but like it'll be blatantly the MCU is basically what I'm trying to say in that universe with the 10 rings. Really cool story. And I just am excited. Two things I'm most excited for this movie is the action and just like kind of the MCU tie-ins, like I just said.
Yes.
I'm excited to see movies that I think are more clear in my mind that can connect better with the MCU. How about you, Thomas? What'd you read up on?
Oh boy. So I do my very best to avoid spoilers at all costs, but right after Comic-Con every year, I am nothing but a spoilering machine. Spoilering?
It's funny because you're the one that's like makes me screen the trailers.
Yeah, but I mean, I gotta get like just the revealing a title card and giving me little bits of information is not enough, Dad. What if I want more? Thank you, Internet. I have if you look at my notes, gravity. It looks like there's a lot of notes about Loki and then like less about him as they go, but I just got more condensed and wrote smaller. So when it comes to Shang-Chi, I've heard long time ago in a galaxy right here that we live in that Mandarin is going to be Shang-Chi's dad. That is like instant rumor right out of San Diego Comic-Con. That's exciting. Mostly because in the comics, his dad is Fu Manchu, which I mean, just the name alone is massively racist and outdated for sure.
I remember reading up on that where they thought, I think it was like some video where they kind of touched on that, and it's like you probably won't see that.
Yeah, Jim Starlin is like, they're not doing Fu Manchu, thank God, and he's the creator of Shang-Chi. So he's like, we did it, and now we're like, oh God, what were we thinking? So yeah, Mandarin, and the fact that the last time we heard the Mandarin is in the Trevor Slattery, what is it called? The Real Mandarin. The one shot when he was in prison and he gets taken. That was very exciting back then to be like, oh, we're gonna get the real Mandarin. Thank God. I was bummed that he wasn't the Mandarin only because I loved the way he portrayed himself, because you'll never see me coming. And then
he was great at acting as him.
He's great as he's an actor acting. But then when he literally just turned into being a buffoon, like, Trevor Slattery, it's a little bit of this, a little bit of Eastern Orthodox, and then, grumbling. It's all made up. There's no blood. It's fake blood. Like, hilarious. He's just an alcoholic. I hope we see Trevor Slattery. Granted, he's probably going to get murdered. Or he'll be a
fun opening.
I think it would be a great opening. That's how you open the movie right there. Because I literally forgot his name in the middle of Ben Kingsley. Amazing actor.
Ben Kenobi. That's what I was going to say.
Okay, look. No, we're not there yet. Just wait until you finish Clone Wars, bro. It's very exciting. This one right here. You are so right. I have literally sprinted down a packed theater because there was a new trailer coming out. I don't care.
I love trailers.
I don't.
Hype.
I'm too good at being able to pick apart specific lines in a trailer and then correlate it to what the story point's going to be.
You just think too much.
Yeah. Obviously, I have Tourette's and ADHD. It's nonstop. I dream and I think. I literally think about what I'm going to do the next day in my dreams. It's insane how lined up they could become. But I read that it's going to have a blood sports style fight tournament.
Oh my gosh, it sounds so cool.
Right? Now, I'm hoping the whole movie is not just that. I'm hoping it's a big sequence. I'm hoping it's like that's Act 2. Act 1, you set it up. Act 2, you have that. At the end of that, then you go into Act 3.
Where is it supposed to take place? Sorry, cutting you off.
Yes.
Look it up. Keep going.
Yeah, I'm not sure. My guess is wherever the Mandarin lives, because I mean, in the comics, he's from China. So, or he definitely in that region of the world, because I've not read Shang-Chi personally, but they've talked about having villains known as Tiger Claw, Razor Fist, Ghost Maker, and Moving Shadow in the movie. There's been casting calls that have hinted at that. Oh, hey, Darla, welcome. If you like Marvel Comics, we got you in the movies and all of the in the movies. And that's where I read that they're going to talk about this blood sports style fight tourney. I also read a thing today talking about a bunch of super spies from MI6 are going to be involved too. And that it might tie into, because in the comic, Shang-Chi was an MI6 agent or something like that. And that's super, super dope. That's how you tie him in to everything ever. And I mean, think about it really quick. Sokovia Accords, you have a former MI6 agent, Shang-Chi, who's basically, I don't remember if he has superpowers. I think he does. But he earns them after a specific fight.
He's like the master of martial arts.
Well, he's definitely the master of martial arts, but I think there's a specific power he also has. And boom, right there. We can trust him. How do you know you can trust him? I don't know why I just did the same voice for two characters, but but then it's just like, well, he was an MI6 agent. Well, I trust them. Why do you trust him, though? Thunderbolt Ross creating the Thunderbolts. I'm dropping it in every episode. It's happening.
We are like Thunder Action after all.
Yeah, we are. Every article that I read led to this next point. Fin Fang Foom might be making his actual debut in real life. Now, if you remember Iron Man 3, he had the dragon tattooed on him, right?
Yeah.
When he was like, I'm the real Mandarin. I can't do a Guy Pearce accent or whatever his name is. It's Pierce. It is Guy Pearce. There's too many Pierces because there's like 3. There's a director, there's an actor, and there's like a writer.
He plays
all different.
Guy Pearce plays the exact same character in Bloodshot that just came out with Vin Diesel.
Oh, really?
Literally.
I didn't watch that.
It was the last movie I saw before the theaters closed, actually.
Oh, true. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised by that. He's really good at that role.
I loved it. He was great in it, honestly. Like, he was like one of the best parts.
Well, that tattoo was an homage to the dragon Fin Fang Foom. Yes, a literal dragon. Finally. And it's rumored that Fin Fang Foom in some form or fashion will be tied into that fight tournament. Whether it means that he's an actual fighter in the tournament, aka like you got to go through these villains and then you fight the dragon. Oh my God. Dragon, fight the dragon, Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, nailed it. Nailed it. That is exciting because as actually Mandarin is in the comics before the movies came out was Iron Man's like most well-known villain. Fin Fang Foom is also one of his most known villains for Iron Man. So the fact that these two villains who were like Iron Man's number one antagonist for decades is fantastic. That is actually going to be in another film that is we'll postpone the scan. Computer, stop that. Rude. I'm excited for that. Now here's my final thought on this. Aquafina is going to be in this, and I fracking love her as an actor. She is amazing. If you've not watched Jumanji, The Next Level, that's the subtitle for that. By all means, you will be a big fan of her after that. I mean, I've been a big fan of her since I first saw her in Ocean's 8. She just plays like
she's really funny.
She's got a great type, but there's some other work that she's been doing. Crazy Rich Asians. There was another one where she was a drama. I forgot the name of the movie, but she is just phenomenal. Has great range, and I'm very excited. They haven't released who she's playing, so she could be either the flame of Shang-Chi, the sister of Shang-Chi.
Yeah, in my little research, like, okay, so a recent set video came out. It didn't really show anything, but yeah, like showed nothing because it was like right before they filmed like a little bit. It was almost like Uncharted with Tom Holland, where they barely filmed anything, then the corona thing happened. Anyway, they were filming in Australia, which is where a lot of Ragnarok was filmed. And it is set in China, at least that this scene was anyway. Gotcha. So, but they're filming most of the movie apparently in Australia. But yeah. So I mean, and that's where I think they filmed a lot of Ragnarok. So they have like they got the connects. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm excited for this movie flat out. Like, I think it'll be great. This is one that I'm most confident about with these new like films. Like, I'm more confident in Shang-Chi than I am with Eternals. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Say that again. I have to retaste that sentence.
And chat, let us hear what you think. I am more confident in Shang-Chi than I am in Eternals as to be a good movie. Not that it'll perform well or anything like that, that it'll just be like a good MCU film. Or film in general, I guess.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. Just by a little bit, because
and hey, I'll tell you why.
As just a full on by itself standalone movie, yes, exactly. But I think Eternal is going to be way more steeped in Marvel history and lore and such.
Right. I just think that I think I love the idea of it being kind of a little bit of an origin film. I love origin movies. Like, I'm one of those people that is pro origin films, just because I think they're so like, I don't know, they're so character driven. I love character driven movies, and Eternal should be very character driven. But I just think there's a lot of, I feel like, just passion behind the Shang-Chi franchise with this coming up. And I think it could be something really exciting, really something that's new and kind of like connects with like us as an audience. And we can, make a connection with this one character, like we did with maybe like a Black Panther or Doctor Strange, like any of these like newer characters that had their own solo movies, Ant-Man. And I just think he has a lot of potential to be like a great new Avenger movie or character. So I think maybe it's my excitement partially, but I just think this movie, because it's more centralized than Eternals has a lot to cover, as we talked about last week.
Yes.
And Shang-Chi does too, but it's like it'll be more centralized. And the May date, it's just kind of the lines are setting up for this to be a banger.
Yeah, a full on banger, man. I'm excited. I'm very excited for it because I mean, I grew up watching Kung Fu movies with my dad, and I am really excited.
I want Namor too.
I'm going to pull that up. Yes. Same. We want Namor, Imperious Rex.
I think Namor is going to be in Black Panther.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to, but yeah.
I want Namor too. And there's actually some weird like Namor universal rights thing, like with the Hulk. Did you know that? I was reading up on that, where they don't really, and it's not as clear cut as the Hulk is, but I think Marvel would be able to figure it out. But yeah, Namor, I think would be a fantastic, just to comment on this, Namor would be a fantastic villain character to bring into the MCU, just because I just think we haven't been in the water enough.
Yeah, I agree. And it's weird that you're excited for Namor, but you didn't enjoy like Aquaman. Like, you're mind-boggling me.
Aquaman was no. I was excited for Aquaman. Aquaman itself is a cool character, but I was saying the movie of Aquaman didn't like excite me that much, I guess. I mean, I just wasn't like, personally, I just thought it kind of disappointed me, like, to be honest. Like, I liked parts of it. I did like parts of it, but I just remember being in the theater thinking this was like too long, which is upsetting. Like, I thought they kind of got into I almost wish they spent more time in the water in Aquaman, to be honest. But I loved See, that's the thing that makes me excited about Namor. See, I trust the MCU more than I do DC.
That's fair.
And what I liked about Aquaman, if that was brought to like a Namor kind of thing, would be super cool. Because in Aquaman, the underwater fight scenes and all that were very unique. Something we never really seen before with the graphics that we have nowadays. Yeah. And it brought something like, it brought a whole new element to these fight scenes and how they can look and kind of like sound and feel. And I'd love to, I don't know how it would work with Black Panther, but that's where I think he might pop up.
I have ideas. I have plenty of fan theories about Black Panther and how it'll tie in and all that such. But I'll wait till whenever we cover that, probably in 2 weeks, if the math works out in my brain properly.
Sometime soon.
Not 2 weeks. Because 2022 has 5 movies.
It does as of right now.
So, and we're working our way through the year 2021. Oh my gosh. So we'll move on. What final thoughts on Shang-Chi?
Excited. I think it could really I'm really hoping it takes on that May mantle that the MCU set and hits it out of the park. It's scary because it is that May release date. And if it doesn't do well, it could be bad. But I think it'll look really cool. I think for general audiences, it'll be something that'll be a little more understandable in marketing compared to the Eternals per se. Something that it's okay, this one character, he has martial arts. It's in China. There's a big bad villain. There's the 10 rings. I just think from a studio perspective, it may be a little easier to kind of show audiences and kind of give them something to really come around to. And I just want it to be good, honestly. I just think with the 10 rings, having that tie back into the MCU with all the Iron Man, preludes to this that have set it up, I think they could really hit it out of the park with this. And I think the potential for it is very high.
My final thoughts, 98% Asian cast. Hot dog. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's sick. It's going to feel I love that because it's going to be different, but also feel like it's in the MCU and be a part of this bigger universe. And that's what the MCU needs to do. They're doing it with Eternals, obviously, but in a grander scale, but show different part of the world. Yeah. I'm sounding hypocritical because of my Spider-Man conversation.
I was going to say.
Spider-Man is from the Bronx. Spider-Man deserves to be in New York, swinging around the Empire State Building and the Baxter Building, which is now they own, I hope.
Yeah, well, it's a spicy
fan theory.
That's a good fan theory. We probably agree there. Moving on, this one, I'm just...
Loki. Take it away. Take it away.
Loki, you son of a frost giant. Oh, God. Goodness gracious. Where do I begin? Let's start off simply. Loki, as you know, by the end of Endgame, from the end of Endgame, that's a sentence. He has the Tesseract in 2012, and then he ruined the timeline. So that's a whole branched universe. We're going to call that Universe L, because that's the only way to remember that. The Avengers took an L there. They lost, etc.
Loki's L, yeah.
They thank you for recognizing where I was going.
I'm following. I'm here.
So in Universe L, Loki has gotten his butt kicked by the Hulk. He's been destroyed as a puny god by the Hulk, and he is now traveling the universe. And at some point in time, whenever we pick up in the Loki series, will be an undisclosed amount of time after that. I'm hoping it's immediately. I'm hoping it starts off with him. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna throw it up there. Fan theory time. I think it's gonna start with him in the TVA cell, Time Variance Authority, who, by the way, was created by...
Start with that.
I think it's going to start with that.
All right.
Yep. So I'm one. Let me get my Loki voice on. So I'm wondering. So I bet you think. What's the line from Thor? Hold on. So I know what you're thinking. Oh no, Loki's in prison. How did this happen? Boom. Right in. That's a good hook. Hire me, Mark. So I think that it's going to start there, and he's going to be so. He's going to give us a quick briefing, but we're actually going to see it. It's going to show a little bit of his cosmic journey through that point. and how he got there. I think that'll be episode 1. I genuinely think that he's gotta throw it back up just to be safe. Fan story time, and obviously this is potential spoilers, but I think that he's actually going to be a genuine hero. He's obviously the protagonist of this story, but I don't think it's going to be twisted around where he's just like, he might be good, he might be bad. He's going to be, okay, no, he might be good, he might be bad. That's going to stick, but he's going to be hired to do a job. And I think he's going to be hired by the Time Variance Authority. The Minutemen are going to be involved, and the Minutemen are a Walt Simonson creation. They're police force of the time stream, and they were created in a Fantastic Four comic. So that's fun.
Yeah.
And the Time Variance Authority first appeared in a Thor comic in 1986. I have to double check this, but I'm pretty sure Walt Simonson was also writing in 1986 for Thor. He is, in case you're wondering, Walt Simonson created Beta Ray Bill. And that's awesome.
Please be in Love and Thunder next.
Anyway. We'll get there. We'll get there. I got theories on that. They are rumoring a litany of various characters, and I'm only going to list a couple. Lady Loki, spoiler alert, does appear in some form or fashion. Now, whether it is which I'm really hoping that
I was going to bring that up.
I'm hoping he travels to another universe and then it's like a girl version of Loki. I'm hoping that's what it is. Or it's his daughter. Oh, wow.
That'd be crazy.
Wow. We'll get to why that's relevant in a minute. I'm hoping that it's not just him, shifting into being a Lady Loki for a scene. It looks like in that set photo, it is Sophia Di Martini. It is hard to tell based on lighting issues, but it looks, if you have not seen it, just Google it. It looks amazing. Owen Wilson is rumored to be a part of the cast.
Yep. He is. He's in the cast. Yeah. That's a thing. On set photos.
Okay. Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
And that leads me to one question. Who are you?
Like, yeah.
Like, wow.
Who are you?
Kang? Question mark?
Kang. You just, that is the news. Like, what the news when it comes to Loki is Kang. Like,
I'm just gonna keep dangling Kang in front of everyone's face before I get there, because like that's where I'm gonna lose. You're gonna see blood fly out. Like I'm gonna lose my mind. Now, and this is where it's gonna come in with the Doctor Strange tie-in too with Kang. Kang. I'm thinking that he's gonna be hired to stop a threat to the time stream. Now, how is he going to get caught by the Time Variance Authority? How is he traveling through time? That's a damn good question. Well, we know that the Infinity Stones are attracted to each other. He has the Space Stone. He just had the Mind Stone, unbeknownst to him. I'm thinking, and again, this is got to throw it back up here, fan theory time. I'm thinking that he is going to space pop into, I don't think it's the Sanctum Sanctorum where the Eye of Agamotto is, but he's going to go there, snatch it real fast, and pop on out of reality. And that's how he's going to be traveling through time.
You think the Time Stone's involved? Or is there like some other third party thing that we don't know about? I think if it's something else.
I'm hoping it's the Infinity Stone, because then you're just like, oh, he's got an Infinity Stone. So if he comes in, say in Doctor Strange, then he gets the Eye of Agamotto back, So there's like a little bit of leeway that, it's a topsy-turvy situation. That's what I'm hoping happens.
Yeah.
However, with the Space Stone, theoretically, he could travel to the quantum realm. Right. It is a place. It says it is, outside of space and time, but it's really not. It's tied directly to space and time to a point that you can travel through it to get to space and time. I mean, which is a quantum theory that I don't want to dive down in, because it comes into string theory and multiversal theory, and it gets.
We'll save it for Ant-Man 3.
We'll save it for Ant-Man 3. 5, sure. And I'm really hoping it's the Eye of Agamotto versus going back into the quantum realm or something of that nature. What do you think about the time travel and how it happens?
Okay, so my own little fan theory is I would love to see what you said with it starting with him in the time variance. That would be a really cool way to start it off, because it's like, and even like what you said with like, oh, like the little voiceover, there he is, and it would really kick off the show. I hope it's a shorter show, because I think this can't really drag. I want it to be what I hope and what I really want is Kang to be involved. And what if Loki becomes a Kang disciple? What if that's how it's happening? What if it's like, oh, like what if he's in the Time Variance Authority and that's the end of the show, but we see it at first and then we catch up to how it happened and how like the Time Variance Authority kind of got on like Kang's case and like basically just got Loki because he was just one of like the lower people. Maybe. Fan theory. Anyway, Kang, if they introduce Kang, like that is a monumental character, and Loki, especially in 2012, was just a like disciple, a worker for Thanos, a higher like being, a higher person who he wanted to serve and take advantage of. That's what Loki does. He's selfish and he tries to manipulate people and work with people so he can get himself higher in the world, galaxy, universe. And for you guys who don't know, Kang, he time jumps, he wrecks everything. It's fantastic. He's a great villain who would be excellent to bring into a future movie, especially if it involved Sword and Captain Marvel and all those good things. And involving Kang and Loki on a logistical standpoint, on a building the Disney Plus shows to be more than just shows, having Kang in the show would give it a lot of weight, would give Loki, the show, so much importance to it. I mean, like even if it was just, okay, like maybe the whole disciple, like him working with Kang may not be that involved, but if he's just teased, if he's touched on, if it's a after Avengers 2012 Thanos moment of Kang at the end of Loki, something like that. And then you see Kang may pop up back again in Captain Marvel 2, which we already know is supposed to, we'll get to that later, but we already know that Captain Marvel 2 is supposed to set up the next Avengers film. Will Loki be around? I'm curious to see with this Loki film, personally, is there any Loki, like just with like maybe the numbers that come back, is there any kind of Loki fatigue? Because we've seen Loki a lot. We've seen Loki a lot, obviously. We've seen him die a lot. I mean, we've seen him die and be resurrected. And what's funny is that in Infinity War, when it seemingly looks like Thanos kills Loki for like the final time, and he literally says the words, "No resurrections this time," that maybe that was our last time seeing Loki. And I really want to say that there won't be fatigue, but for me, even there's a little bit of fatigue. It's cool to see that this Loki coming back for the next for the Loki series will be the 2012 Loki, because I think we kind of like Loki kind of went oh, it's okay, Thomas. We're rolling. We're talking about Loki. I think we kind of got over the Loki that kind of got a little soft, maybe in like Ragnarok, who kind of went buddy with Thor a little bit. But I think having the 2012 Loki back and jumping around space. So when Thomas gets back, I'll explain to him. But I kind of disagreed with what you were saying, Thomas, with him being a like protagonist, because the 2012 Loki is such like a bad guy at the time, It's like, I think that it'll be really cool to see that side of Loki again. And I was talking about how there might be like some Loki fatigue, like will people be interested in it? And I think maybe bringing in someone like Kang or Beta Ray Bill, anything, like go to Asgard when it's still there. Like I think they could have some really cool moments. And this movie, I think Tom Hiddleston is the man. Like him as this character is perfect. It's one of those like, honestly, like Iron Man, RDJ kind of situations, like where he's literally built for it. And
how did they get Tom Hiddleston and Chris Hemsworth to be Thor and Loki. Like when you look back at that, it was like, oh, okay. And now it's like, holy crap, how'd they pull that off?
And Hiddleston tried out for Thor. That was who he was trying out for. And then they were like, oh no, you're gonna be Loki.
You're gonna be Loki. And he's like, okay. He's like, all right, man, whatever.
I mean, he's literally, I mean, he's probably one of the, if not the most like beloved MCU villain. I would say probably,
second, probably behind Thanos. I think Thanos has a bigger following, you know.
Yeah.
That's
definitely a debate, though. That is a debate.
That's a good debate. That's a good debate right there.
Yep.
Debate.
Let us know what you think in the comments in the live chat.
Say that. Sorry, what did you say?
So let us know what you think in the live chat, audience.
Yes,
please. Loki versus Thanos. Who's better, or like more beloved?
So you were talking about Kang. What do you know about Kang? Like, do you know who his lineage is?
No.
Let me inform you all. Spoiler alert. He is a descendant of Reed freaking Richards. Yep. So you didn't know that, did you? Kang is one of my favorite. Kang is literally my favorite Avengers villain of all time. It might be because I love time travel. It is. It's definitely because I love time travel.
Yeah.
So he is currently Iron Lad, actually, in the comics, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
A younger version of him went back in time because he found out that his future selves was just a bunch of jerks. So he's like, I'm going to make a new version of me. So he's Iron Lad trying to earn respect. He has at various times been an Egyptian king, gone further back in time to try and create the universe in his image. He's gone further into the future to destroy something that he disagreed with. He's been arrested by the Time Variance Authority multiple times, if I'm not mistaken. Hence the TVA being involved. Hence why I think Loki's getting involved. And I think Kang will be... So I find it hilarious, but not hilarious. That's the wrong word. Amazing that the first major villain in the MCU, Loki, the first villain to ever survive and live out through multiple movies, is about to have the first villain to main plot show.
Yeah.
And what better way to introduce the next Avengers threat than introduce him in that show? I genuinely think that Kang is going to be the reason, because there's a picture that I've seen, a picture of him walking with Owen Wilson and some other people of the TVA, but he's not wearing handcuffs like I thought he would.
Maybe being like
I think he's hired to be a part of them and help track them down. And I think he's tracking down Kang because, you know, like how
maybe he mind tricks them into doing it.
I mean, he might, honestly, but his mind tricks were because of the Mind Stone, just to be fair. I keep doing that. I keep hitting my mic.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike.
But he is the god of mischief. He could figure something out.
He does have a silver tongue, so he could, he could slithery snake his way on in there. I don't know why I'm trusted with anything ever. So that really comes down to my next theory, which is technically split into two parts. What is Kang's involvement? Villain is A. Time Variance Authority member, because at various times in his history in the comics, Kang has been a member, has been a police member of the time stream. He's gone through and tried to correct it and fix it and take out people who are trying to destroy it. So there's potential that he's actually a good guy, which would be very much like Loki in Thor. I mean, we all know who's the bad guy. I mean, everybody knows. But, you know, he plays himself as the good guy, and then as it goes, it slowly seems to slip. And then you really didn't know how devious he really was until you saw him in future movies and went, oh, wow, he was literally playing everyone the entire time.
But he's still so beloved. Everyone
right. I mean,
he's the best.
People love manipulators. It's weird. Is Owen Wilson Kang? Wow.
Wow, it's right.
Right. Wow.
I didn't even let that one sit. I mean, that's a great question. I don't have an answer, but that'd be crazy.
That is what I've been.
No way.
Yeah, right. Just think about it. Like if you had to have a villain and you had to disguise him as somebody, would you not choose Owen Wilson? Isn't he the person you think about as like a beloved guy, a good guy? Right. But who better than Marvel to turn him into one of the most diabolical villains of all time? Literally of all of the times, because he travels through the times and the spaces.
If that's the case, I would be stunned because it's Owen Wilson. Like it's exactly what you said. Like he's such a
hot fan theory, spicy to web take.
Yeah, for sure. That's a fun one. That's a good one. I'm gonna have to. I don't know. That's a good. That's a good blown. Yeah, I like that.
So, kind of wrapping up Loki here. There's two big things that I wanted to wait for until now. One is comments from the Expanding the Universe special from Disney Plus. I rewatched it today. God, I almost cried. It's so good.
So good.
So exciting. Can you believe that was only like 7 months ago when Disney Plus started? Like it's mind boggling. So one of them said that it's going to have a man on the run quality to it. And he's going to be hopping throughout time. Time travel is very, very important to the storyline.
Right.
So that's
space and time. It seems like anyway. I mean, he has the Tesseract.
Yeah, he has the Tesseract, but I mean, anytime you go to another time, you're going to another space, technically, right? Because of superposition of planets and the such. So, but also, this is the first time we've ever seen Loki on his back foot, and it's the first time that he's thrown into a situation where he doesn't have all the answers, which leads me to believe that he is going to be involved working with the Time Variance Authority, because if he didn't have all the answers, would he really be a good villain?
Right.
Which means
when you just fake it till they make it.
When you don't have all the answers, normally you're a protagonist, especially in Marvel, which they could be conning us about that the whole time. But that's where I think the Owen Wilson thing, because it looks like he's a part of the Time Variance Authority, just based on how things have been getting set up.
Right.
Now, apparently, Roxxon is involved. Now, Roxxon has been around since Iron Man 1. So it's very exciting that they still keep Easter egging this. Now, in the comics, Roxxon is a massive oil company that has countless ties to criminal organizations. They often end up on the wrong side of the Avengers and end up getting taken down. And then like every other global corporation, they just, kick out the bad people and then boom. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. However, there's apparently, I did not see what was described, but it was either a clip or a photo or concept art of Roxxon cart. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it looks like it's a Walmart, distribution style thing. And it's in a post-apocalyptic world. Yeah. So it's my, very exciting. And I'm just really wondering, when will we see this Easter egg pay off? Because it's been teased for 12 years now.
Right.
So it's like, okay, like eventually they'll give us words about who Roxxon really is, because it's in every Iron Man movie, 1, 2, and 3. They blow up a lot of their signs. It's in a couple Avengers movies. I want to say Black Panther in the South Korea sequence. And one other movie in a really random spot that if I'm not mistaken. But it would be exciting to see as now that the Thanos has happened and you're going to have people, like I said last week with Thunderbolt, I'm going to drop the thunder every time. I think Roxxon is going to tie into the Thunderbolts, tie in like the Thunderbolts, that they've been there this whole time and we just didn't know it. And then they do something that pushes the ball forward for their narrative. And again, I'm going to end with this. Which version of Kang are we getting? Give me all of them, please.
That is the question.
I'm sad that it's happening, and I don't get to play Kang. So
I wish.
I wish
it's
too.
A big rumor if he's even going to be in it. We could be idiots right now, and he doesn't even pop up. But I bet he does.
We're all idiots at some point in our life. We just do it live on Bookface, Facebook. Man, close enough. What are your final thoughts on Loki? Do you have any?
Excited. I hope Kang's in it because I think that'll be a great way to tie it into the main MCU and give it a lot of a lot of weight to it, a lot of like reason behind it. Even if we get Kang in a small little glimpse, if he's just referenced to, if it's just something like that, I'm all for it. I mean, I love Tom Hiddleston, like I said.
Yeah,
there might be a little bit of Loki fatigue in a way, but it's still Tom Hiddleston. Like,
I don't think so. Especially this version of Loki. Everyone loved him when he was like pompous and righteous and kneel before me.
Right. That I think that helps. That's not like a sequel almost. It's a not even a prequel, but it's just this Loki out of time.
Yeah, it is like, hi, we're doing something weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Loki.
And that sounds great, you know?
Yeah.
Weird and Loki sounds great.
All right. So our next flick show, I'm gonna leave What If last.
Okay.
Because I don't have a lot for Hawkeye.
Yeah.
So take it away.
Yeah, so Hawkeye. I mean, this is a show I feel like personally, this is kind of a spicy web, not gonna lie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, buckle in. I think Hawkeye has been handed the short end of the stick in most of the MCU, to be completely fair.
Okay, no, I agree with that. Like in Avengers 1, they gave all of Hawkeye's lines that should have been Hawkeye to Black Widow.
And he was bad most of the movie. He just became a good guy. Like, he was
didn't care about
that. I care. There was that. I'm okay. He had a moment in Ultron. Like, that was kind of his moment. Ultron, where they took him to us.
That's his whole movie. That's Hawkeye's movie, man.
Yeah, like
he has multiple moments. Like, my favorite Hawkeye moment is when he's literally sitting there. He's like, the island, the country's floating. We're fighting a bunch of robots.
Yeah,
and I got a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense. But if you walk out you can stay here. You can hide. I'll tell your brother he'll come get you. But if you walk out that door, you are an Avenger.
That was a great moment. And there should be more there should be more good Hawkeye moments. After Ultron, he is handed the short end of the stick. Like, he's retired in Civil War. He pops in for a second, does barely anything, whatever. We just had Jeremy Renner in the movie for 5 minutes. And then, boom, flash forward to Infinity War, no Hawkeye. Flash forward to Endgame. Okay. Ronan was awesome, and they better get into Ronan in Hawkeye.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, that needs to be a part of it because, like a significant part of it, because that scene in Endgame of him being Ronan in wherever he was incredible. And
Tokyo,
they need to go
Japan.
Yeah, and they need to go way deeper into that because, like, it kind of is almost like, I mean, Endgame. There's a lot of things going on, but that's almost kind of brushed over in the heat of everything because, I mean, he literally went nuts after all his family died. Like, he went completely ballistic, like this crazy bad killer. And like, his redemption is very quick in that movie, where it's not like, they're just like, all right, like we know what you did. Black Widow's like, you didn't give up on me. I'm not going to give up on you. Like, you didn't quit on me in your weakest moment. And it was really like, it was quick though. And I think hopefully that just set up this Hawkeye movie or show. I mean, and because I think Hawkeye is really a good character. Like, we saw it in Age of Ultron. Like, he was one of the best parts in that movie. Like, I love that. Yes. I was going to mention that scene you talked about with Wanda, where it was like really powerful, like one of the most powerful moments. And I feel like something with Hawkeye is his character is in the MCU is he's like a little sarcastic. But he like keeps it real. He's one of those guys where he's not Captain America, like with these like kind of speeches and stuff. He's just kind of like, he feels kind of like a real guy, and that's probably part because Jeremy Renner as the lead actor for him. But okay, so Hawkeye the show. I hope there's Ronan. Kate Bishop obviously is involved, where it seems like it's going to be a little bit of a passing of the torch kind of thing, which is like, sure, fine. I'm not crazy about that. Like, it may set up a Young Avengers, which I'm excited about, which could be cool. But I think I want, like, what I'm more interested in that storyline of potentially those two things is his time as a Ronin, and now maybe even him getting back to be with his family after. I mean, what happened? He was away from his family for 5 years. They dusted. He goes absolutely mad, nuts, crazy, killing people for no reason just because they were bad people. Like, I mean,
that's a good reason. Like,
okay, but they didn't even like offend him personally. Like, it was just like he was just like, that was bad. My brain's going a little too quick.
It's okay.
They're just like, oh, they haven't done great things in their time. I'm just gonna go kill them. Like, they're bad people. That's not what heroes do, you know.
Well, let me assuage some fears, because they very openly, abrasively, lovingly touched on it on expanding the universe. And that's, if you have not watched it on Disney Plus, it's really just Kevin Feige introducing these shows at Comic-Con 2019 and D23 2019. So he's giving information about that, talking with the writers, the directors, the supervising producers,
you see some
the actors. And concept art, we get some footage for a couple different things. Nope, we only get concept art in that. Yeah, we only get concept art and pictures. Oh no, we see some footage from What If, which we'll get to.
Yep.
He for Hawkeye, he's training Kate Bishop so that she can carry the Hawkeye mantle, and it's very openly going to touch on his time as Ronin. And I think it's going to touch on the fact that he's just going to tell her what he did and then be like, this is what you should not do. You know, like, he now has the added experience of being, which in the MCU was iffy, because in the comics, he used to be a villain, but he was an Olympic archer who set all the records, then got roped in with the wrong crowd and was just because he liked the chick, and then eventually became a SHIELD agent and a hero. In the movies, he's been a SHIELD agent the whole time, it seems. However, now he's been a bad guy. Bad guy, excuse me. Hiccup. So now he has the added experience of good and bad, and I think that that's really what's going to lend to his development of a new hero to be in Kate Bishop, which they're rumoring Haley Steinfeld. If they do, all bets are off. I'm gonna buy the whole show. Like, I love Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah, that'd be a good casting. It almost seems like, I'm curious if that'll actually be what happens, because it's almost kind of like a fan pushed like but it's rumored. It's
been rumored.
I don't think they've decided. Maybe, but
yeah. Me too, Terry. I love that. I actually cried when they did that. Like, I was so stoked on it.
Spider-Man was there.
Yeah. Yeah, I just loved how they all, like, because when they did it in Infinity War and it was just the three, it's like, she's not alone. And then they, like, literally slice her and dice her.
Tease for
that was I was like, oh, that was so cool. And then it was like they all showed up that time. And then I was like, oh my God. Like, what really got me is the fact that we had Rescue. Oh man, like, was not expecting her to be full on iron kicking butt action. Cool. Like,
when her and Iron Man were in the circle, just beaming.
Oh my God, right? That was dream. We're fangirling. I'm excited for Hawkeye, but you know, we don't have a lot of information, and we don't even have a lot of rumors for Hawkeye. I looked, and there's not a lot. It's just
there's not a lot of spice to it right now. There's really not.
Most of the rumors have been whether or not they're gonna get Haley Steinfeld.
Right,
is what it has come down to. So, you got any final words on good old iHawk?
Yeah, nothing much. I just really want them to really get into, you know, Clint as a character, maybe him as a dad now after being away from his family for 5 years. Like, it's just one of those things that I think that they could touch on more. And like, he's done all these bad things. Does he tell his wife that? Does he tell his kids that? Like, will they get into, like, you know, Clint as a character? Like, for this show, actually, maybe wouldn't even mind it being longer just to really dive into that character a bit more. And, you know, how does he meet Kate Bishop? Why is he training her to be the next Hawkeye? What are the circumstances? Who are they fighting? Who's the bad guy? Who's, like, where's the action? Where's the conflict? Are we, like, is it a lot of Ronin flashbacks? Is it a little bit? There's a lot of questions, not a lot of answers. But but I'm excited. You know, like I said, like I think Hawkeye's been a kind of underused, underappreciated to some degree, and for those reasons, I'm excited. Not the most exciting, I guess, property that to like talk about, just with kind of broad scale and like exciting fan stories, but I'm still excited overall, and I hope they treat the character well, and I hope we get into him as a dad, and especially him being this changed guy. You know?
Yeah. I agree. Really quick before we move on to our last thing. Hey, Garrett, it's GW Palmector from Hanging with Web Show and Hanging with Web Show Media Group. Yep. Oh, boom. Look at that. I got it without it being written down. He's going to be so proud of me. Next Saturday, actually, GW Palmector and the KitchenKillaz are putting on a cyber concert from 3 Eastern until I believe it's 9 Eastern. With live music. So, you know, as you all, actually, most of you probably don't know, we were involved with CyberCon, David and I. We talked about the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, and we're excited. I'm definitely excited to enjoy music. It's all for free, all from your home, all from their homes. It's going to be really fun. One last word with Hawkeye. We'll give it to Terry. Hawkeye is the baddest kick-ass character in all of the MCU. No special powers, and still hangs and holds his own with superheroes. I agree. He's basically the Batman of the MCU, and that is saying a lot if you look at his character. Actually, he's more like the Nightwing of the MCU. Because I'm still upset that they gave the funniest lines in Avengers in the big fight to Black Widow and not Hawkeye, because that's his staple in the comics and in all the shows, is he's just a wise ass.
So he's not the Oliver Queen?
No, he's the exact opposite of the Oliver Queen. And Ollie in the comics is more funny than he is in the show.
Yeah.
Is more funny.
But they shoot
funnier?
Arrows.
I don't know which one is proper grammar. So yeah, we'll just move on. You mentioned a lot of questions. My question is, what if?
What if this show, I mean,
this is my number one, man. I'm so stoked.
Like it's gonna be so much fun, but I don't know. I guess I don't have a butt to it, but I like. Do you have a lot of rumors, theories? Like, what do you think? I mean, my biggest thing with this is, like with this show, it can go anywhere. They can do anything. It's animated. It's not really like in the MCU. It's in the world, but it's like just showing you alternate, you know, like realities that could have happened in this, that, and the other.
Dude, with the multiverse, it's totally in the MCU.
I mean, hey, I'm not putting it past them. I'm just saying, like, they can do, like, with that being said, they can do whatever with this show. So it's almost hard to narrow anything down, because a few things I'd like to see. Killmonger as King of Wakanda.
Ooh, okay.
That I would really like to see. We already got teased with Agent Carter being Captain America. That will be really cool to see.
That is,
I really hope I really hope the voice actors they almost get more. They get RDJ maybe. Like, I know that he wasn't on the big board when they showed it off, but I really hope maybe they get more than they're teasing. The show can go anywhere. I think they're not going to do any Spider-Man stuff, which kind of stinks for me. But I
will tell you right now that legally they can, because it's animated.
And it's a TV show. They can do like that's how they're doing She-Hulk.
Exactly. So
yeah. But I haven't seen any even tidbits about that. So
about Spidey, me either. Yeah. But they aren't. There's not a lot of genuine information about that. So they have it's very important to mention this. They're still moving forward. All the artists are working remotely. They have most of the lines recorded already. They've recorded that long before they'd even announced it, actually. So What If is still on track for its debut. I don't think What If will move. I think everything else will move around What If, because it's animated. So they're just plugging along. Episode 1, according to Kevin Feige himself, is Peggy if she took the super soldier serum and becomes Captain Britain.
Yeah.
AKA Captain Carter. I'm super stoked. I love Peggy. If you watch the Expanding the Universe, we actually see footage of that episode. A lot of footage, including Steve becoming like Iron Man. And then like she rides on the back with a handle. Like, oh, dude, it's so sick. I'm so stoked on it.
Yep.
T'Challa as Star-Lord and leading the Guardians of the Galaxy is another one, which is like, how?
Yeah.
I'm so intrigued. Let's go. That's all the information I have on that, but let's go. And it does look like he's still got like vibranium. Yeah. Because he still wears like in his jacket. So I'm wondering what if they actually make this he becomes king and earlier on and then he just goes to space because he's like, we have the technology. I'm sorry, Grumbly.
That one I'm really curious to see how that, like, I like how they're making these really like out of nowhere kind of
Are you ready for this one?
Yeah.
This is one that I'd not heard of until today. Tony Stark gets stranded on Sakaar. What? That is an actual episode. And really? if you watch the Expanding the Universe on Disney Plus, when they're zooming, because so like you see concept art here and there, and then they flash in clips and they flash back out to the concept art. That concept art is in the What If logo. So it's like zooming out of What If, and then it boom pops up. Similar to how they used to do the Marvel, or how they do the Marvel Studios logo. It's very similar to that. In one of them, if you pause it at the right time, you can see Tony's Iron Man in what looks to be Sakaar-esque armor. So they've literally put it under our nose this entire time.
Yeah.
Goldblum is back. I think that they probably, if RDJ doesn't come back, it won't matter because the voice actor from most other things after he became Iron Man do really good impressions of him as like it's Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I actually thought it was Robert Downey Jr. for the first year that it was on TV, and then I had to look it up. I was like, oh, it's not.
Yeah.
The future Avengers anime also has a very RDJ vibe to it. Avengers Assemble is another one, that the animated version, not the British version of the first movie, also is similar to that as well. Now, they also showed footage of Zombie Cap versus the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. They're going all over the place. Like, dude, it's crazy.
I am so here for it. In that, I saw Ego in the concept art, so we're going to touch on Ego a little bit. And then I also paused it. They have an old school image of, I think it was What If number 2. It might have been What If number 1. It might have been the very first What If. What if Jane Foster became Thor instead of Donald Blake? And it's a picture from the comic of Jane Foster as Thor, the old school 80s version, or the like original Thor look where it's just a black suit and circles. It's that.
Yeah.
Next to that is a new animation of Thor with more gold on him than he's ever had in his entire MCU. Like an ornate amount. And I'm wondering if that is going to come into the episode. What if Thor actually became king of Asgard when he was supposed to?
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Right?
I wonder how long these episodes are going to be. Because what's cool about it, I think
they're half hours.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. And
I don't know.
Yeah.
But what's exciting to me is that it's like one episode does its own story. So it's like you kind of just like dive in for however long it's going to be. And then the next week or whatever it's going to be, it'll be a whole new What If story. And like for me, that's like, for Marvel fans, like this show is going to be awesome. Like there's no way, like you cannot worry about this show at all. You know it's going to be great because they get one show to do one story and make it and do whatever they want. It's like, what if anything? So
exactly. Have you ever read a What If comic? Oh my. So I can tell you how it's going to start every episode. It's going to start with Jeffrey Wright. I almost said Jeffrey Watcher. It's going to start with Jeffrey Wright, who's playing Uatu, aka the Watcher. And he's going to do his little intro. That is the same, I'm assuming, the first opening bit, like, you know, my name's Oliver Queen. 5 years ago, it's going to be similar to that, like opening monologue, but it's going to go in and it's going to drop in a what if. And in every comic, it's the same intro. And then he says, now we're going to take a look at universe, insert number, where we happen upon the moment that so-and-so does so-and-so.
Yeah.
Like it's like it sets it up in the narration and then you just jump in. And then he very rarely pops back in and says, "Ooh, let's look at this." Like it goes boom. So I think that's how every episode is going to work.
What if he shows up? What if he shows up in live action?
I need it. Listen, man. Look, Guardians 2 already teased us with 1, 2, 3, 4 different Watchers, right? That's very annoying, but also not that annoying. And what the biggest, the saddest thing for me is I was genuinely hoping that they were going to make Stan Lee the Watcher.
Right.
Like, he's the Watcher of our universe. That's why he's always there, and he sees everything going on.
And they kind of like teased that with the
exactly. They teased it right then and there. So I mean, part of me kind of hopes that it'll be a thing that can happen in the future, but I'm not going to get my hopes up because Stan the Man is no longer with us, sadly, and don't tarnish the amazing legacy he already has. And I think doing anything posthumously for him is tarnishing the legacy. If you do anything with Stan Lee kind of vibes, so
I'm not into that.
Jeffrey Wright is the Watcher.
Jeffrey Wright's awesome.
I love him, dude. He's amazing in everything he's done.
Yeah.
And he's the perfect voice. He's got the perfect voiceover. Let's look at it like this. Commissioner Gordon is the Watcher.
He's gonna be Commissioner Gordon. Yeah.
So that's exciting. What are your final thoughts on What If?
Final thoughts is, like I just said, I'm excited because they can kind of do whatever they want. I'm hoping we get, like I said earlier, the Killmonger as Black Panther kind of vibes, and that Star-Lord story could be really interesting. I love how it's just all over the place. Like, they're not doing like obvious what ifs, like Captain Britain, Captain Carter. That's an obvious one, but I like how they're being like Tony Stark on Sakaar. That's like super interesting. Him interacting with like Jeff Goldblum's like character, like that's fantastic.
Oh my god, I need that in real life.
Maybe Hulk pops up. Like, I don't know. It's
what?
Yeah,
that's crazy. Champion. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. Like, who knows who his champion is right then?
Yeah,
maybe it's someone else we know.
Maybe it's Beta Ray Bill.
Oh man,
dude. He's on the thing. Like, it's possible.
He is on the thing.
Especially, like, I was thinking, okay, when would Tony Stark end up on Sakaar? How? One of two places. Between Infinity War and Endgame. But that seems unlikely, right?
Yeah.
You know what seems more likely? At the end of Avengers. The wormhole closes before he gets there, and he keeps falling.
That'd
and where
be
does
crazy.
Right? I think that's where it's going to tie in there. And so it wouldn't be Hulk, but that is what, 1, 2, that's about 5 years earlier.
Yeah.
Well, there's a very good chance that Beta Ray Bill could be the champion. Like, that's what I'm hoping for.
That's a good, yeah.
Yeah. That's my final thought. Here we go.
Same here.
Thought it was great that he thought his role of drinking from Thor's brew was his favorite role because they gave him more than one scene. Am I confused? Do I not know what he's talking about? I don't think I know how to read. Oh, Stanley. That's right. I didn't know how to read. I was like, who's he? Duh. Yes, that is actually my favorite Stan Lee cameo. And it's his, but we have different reasons for it being his favorite. His favorite because it's 2 scenes. It's my favorite because he goes, Excelsior!
Yeah, that was great.
That is easily why it's my favorite. All right, David, why don't you go ahead and tell everyone where they can find you on the social medias?
Sure, yeah. You can find me at David Thompson on Facebook, David J. Thompson TikTok, same for Instagram, and then David Thompson on Twitter with 2 A's in David. Also, if you are bored and want to check out a sweet documentary that I co-directed for my senior design project, go to YouTube. You can probably just search on YouTube, No Mulligans. It is the story of the college I go to, Florida Tech, their last women's golf team, and what they overcame and what they accomplished. And yeah, check it out. It's 30 minutes. We've gotten pretty good feedback, so go ahead and No Mulligans on YouTube.
What if I told you that getting cut was not the end of the story? I'm telling you, man. I tweeted that because I thought it was good.
Nailed it.
Wrapping up the show, you can find me on all of these links down here. Thomas Carter Rochester, actor on Facebook. Thomas Carter Rochester on Instagram. T Rochester 749 on Twitter because they couldn't fit my full name and I don't remember how to change it. at Thor Son of Dale on TikTok, because again, they couldn't fit my full name. You will be able to find these episodes cataloged after the fact on Life of Thor, along with other gigs of me being Thor Son of Dale, usually making fun of myself. You can also find all of our podcasts audibly at these 3 down below, as well as Spreaker, as Spreake. Did I spell that right? ER?
Yep.
I did.
Speaker with an R.
Speaker with an R. I should have went with that. I should have let you do that part, clearly. You can find us on all of these. We hope that you'll tune in, whether it be live or recorded next time. And then again, this has been Lights, Thunder, Action. Thank you.
Thank you.